What if I told you that wealth doesn't begin with investing? It begins long before that, in the part of your mind that most people never examine. We live in a time obsessed with tactics. Everyone wants to know where to invest, what stock to buy, which asset will multiply their money faster. Yet almost no one asks the question that actually determines everything. What kind of person am I becoming with money? Because investing doesn't create wealth. It multiplies it. And what it multiplies is you. If your mindset is scarcity, investing will multiply scarcity in your life. You'll invest in fear, you'll sell in panic, you'll chase trends you don't understand. If your mindset is long-term discipline, patience, clarity, investing will multiply that. The money behaves according to its master. That's why two people can earn the same salary, invest in the same market, at the same moment in history, and one retires free, while the other spends a lifetime anxious about money. The difference isn't the portfolio, it's the pattern. Let's talk about Anna. 32, smart, hard-working, and perpetually frustrated with her finances. She saves for a few months, then breaks the streak. Buys what she thinks will make her happy. Watches someone on social media get rich from crypto and feels she's already behind. She reads about investing, but it feels abstract, far away from her real life. Anna doesn't realize she's not failing at investing. She's failing at behavior. She's operating by what psychologists call the near reward loop, the constant craving for the next emotional hit of satisfaction. The same loop that drives addiction also drives financial self-sabotage. Every impulsive purchase, every emotional swipe of the card, every "I deserve this" is the brain chasing dopamine, not wealth. And that's why Anna doesn't need a new investment strategy. She needs a new neurological one. Because the truth is simple and brutal. Your brain is managing your portfolio long before your broker ever does. Warren Buffett said, if you can't control your emotions, you can't control your money. And yet, the average person believes the opposite, that financial intelligence comes from math, spreadsheets, and graphs. But Buffett doesn't read emotions in charts. He reads them in crowds. He knows that markets move not because of economics, but because of behavior, greed and fear, euphoria and panic, patterns repeating for centuries. That's the real market, the market of human behavior. Charlie Munger, Buffett's lifelong business partner, said it even clearer. The big money is not in the buying and the selling, but in the waiting. Waiting is behavior, and very few people have mastered it. You see, what most people call bad luck with money is actually undisciplined behavior wearing the mask of fate. And what they call good fortune is often just the result of long, boring, consistent decisions compounded over time. Decisions that required character, not genius. So here's the revelation. Wealth is not a financial condition, it's a behavioral system, and I call it the base mind. The base mind is the foundation of every financial outcome in your life. It's the internal framework that controls how you respond to opportunity, risk, and reward. You can upgrade your income, your job, even your investments. But if you don't upgrade your base mind, your results will fall back to the level of your habits. Because here's the hidden rule. Money always returns to its manager's mindset. That's why lottery winners lose millions, why professional athletes go bankrupt, why people who make it end up back where they started. They upgraded their income, but not their internal system. Their outer wealth grew faster than their inner structure, and it collapsed under the weight of unprepared behavior. The base mind is what keeps money when the world shakes. Without it, you're just financially fortunate, not financially free. Let's break it down. The first layer of the base mind is financial awareness. This is the ability to actually see your habits, your emotions, your triggers. Most people don't budget because they're lazy. They avoid budgeting because it forces them to face themselves. It's psychological avoidance disguised as practicality. Ray Dalio calls this reality truth-seeking, the painful but necessary process of aligning with reality rather than resisting it. Without awareness, every decision is a guess. The second layer is behavioral consistency. Wealth doesn't grow from intensity, it grows from repetition. Saving $500 one month, then nothing for 6 is not a strategy, it's emotional gambling. The base mind replaces emotional decision-making with structured systems. Automate what you can't trust yourself to decide under emotion. As Naval Ravikant says, when you play long-term games with long-term people, all the returns come from compounding. Consistency isn't sexy, but it's exponential. The third layer is delayed gratification. Every rich life is built on someone who learned to delay what they could have had today to own what others can't tomorrow. And this is where the mind rebels, because your brain, neurologically, is wired for immediate pleasure. To overwrite that circuit, you need a story stronger than your urges. A sense of purpose, a long-term vision that burns brighter than any impulse. The fourth layer is emotional regulation. This is what separates investors from speculators, wealth builders from money chasers. When markets fall, fear tells you to sell. When markets boom, envy tells you to buy. Wealthy minds don't obey those impulses. They pause, observe, and act strategically. The base mind doesn't eliminate emotion, it manages it. And the fifth layer, the crown of them all, is identity alignment. Wealth is personal coherence. When what you believe, say, and do around money finally align, financial freedom becomes inevitable, because you're no longer fighting yourself. Internally, every time you earn, spend, or invest, behavior follows identity, always has, always will. By now, you might recognize parts of yourself in this. You might see the times you sabotaged a financial plan because you were bored, the times you avoided facing your expenses because you were ashamed, the times you bought something not because you needed it, but because you couldn't stand feeling left behind. We've all done it. Every single one of us. The difference lies in whether you keep repeating the pattern or use it as information to build your base mind. Most people want wealth strategies that feel advanced, but true mastery is beginning again, not higher, but deeper, because the base mind is not about sophistication, it's about foundation. A shaky foundation will always collapse, no matter how elegant the building looks. Here's the part you won't like. Knowing all of this doesn't change anything until you act differently while you still feel like the same person. Transformation doesn't wait for confidence. Confidence follows the act. You'll say, but I don't earn enough to invest. But I can't save. But I don't have time. And those statements might be true, temporarily. But they are also laws you're writing into your own mind. And the base mind rewrites laws. It doesn't live by them, because behavior is compounding. Every disciplined act trains your mind to hold more. Every budget, every saved amount, every controlled decision builds self-respect. And that self-respect quietly becomes the foundation of your financial future. The poor mind looks for escape. The base mind looks for mastery. Imagine two futures. In one, you keep chasing new investments without ever changing how you behave with money. You keep trying to outrun your psychology. You mistake motion for progress. And every step forward is undone by invisible habits you refuse to face. In the other, you stand still for a moment and decide to train your mind. First, to design disciplines, structures, and emotional boundaries around money. You take ownership of your time, your spending, your impulses, and only then, when your base mind is steady, you begin to build wealth from that place. 10 years later, both versions of you will have faced the same economy, the same inflation, the same crises, but one of you will have grown roots. The other will still be chasing wind. Wealth is not built in the markets. It is built in the mind. And those who understand that rarely lose anything for long. So here's the challenge I'll leave you with. Before you open another investment app, before you chase another quick return strategy, before you try to multiply what you don't truly manage, ask yourself this: is my base mind ready for wealth? Because if it isn't, every dollar you gain will find its way back to the level of your behavior. If it is, wealth will simply have no choice but to follow. Write this in the comments. I build my base before I build my wealth. Not for the algorithm, for yourself. Because real financial freedom doesn't start when your bank balance goes up. It starts when your behavior grows up. And that's the foundation worth building for life.